Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 25th chapter, text number 25. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanadashvapavarga vartmani Shraddharatir bhaktiranukramishyati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Teachings of Lord Kapila, the son of Devavati, verses 25 and 26. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Because they do not associate with devotees, they cannot understand that the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there is no meaning to devotion. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories, because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees, and by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he is freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then, being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
This is part of that shloka book also, the selected verses that the devotees have compiled. I think after last November 8th, the subject matter in this country has changed. For the last more than a month or so, everybody is only dreaming about two notes, 500 rupees and 1000 rupees. So after the demonetization, anywhere you touch anybody, they're all talking about, about this only. And in fact, some people are dreaming also. They're standing in front of ATM counters, and there is a big queue, and then somehow they reach the machine, and there is money. Generally, you don't get money, but in the dream, they're getting money. So, like that, the whole consciousness of the country has changed. Everybody is talking about money. So if you want to meet anybody and strike a relationship, very easy to start with this topic, demonetization. And immediately they'll catch on to it and they'll say yes, like that. and in 1 or 2 minutes you will understand whether it is favorable or unfavorable. And based on that, you can proceed further. So everybody is talking about it. Many people are glorifying the Prime Minister. And of course some people are criticizing. And everybody has their own opinion. Some people are saying it will benefit. Some people say it may not benefit. Like that, the various opinions are coming out. And if I am supportive of the Prime Minister, then I will always look for the topics which are in line with my understanding. There is an article on how demonetization has affected the country positively, 15 ways. Then immediately I am interested, what are these 15 ways? And if somebody says now how it has spoiled the whole economy, then I don't want to read that. I keep it aside. So anyway, like that, I go more and more deeply into this subject, justifying how my stand is correct. Right? And if you do a little bit of research in the internet, you will see innumerable articles which will justify your stand, either positive or negative. So, using your research, you become more and more convinced about your standpoint. So that's what people are doing now. They're all becoming, some group is positive, some group is negative. So if we can use the same phenomena of researching and getting convinced about what we are doing and convinced about Krishna consciousness, tad joshana. Joshana means cultivation. Cultivation means a systematic process. So if we can cultivate and research in order to justify our stand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and service to Him is the highest goal of Vedic literature, then this verse is promising that apavarga vartmani will become freed. First of all, this is what happens in our lives. We become freed. A devotee is not praying for becoming freed. Let us say we are struggling with a bad habit. A devotee is not praying to come out of the bad habit. That is only a byproduct. He is praying for Shraddharati Bhaktir Anukramishyati. Whether he is harassed by a habit, or harassed by somebody, XYZ, or some material world, some things are disturbing him, he is not saying, please remove all these disturbances from my life. He is saying, please increase my attachment to the Lord. So anyway, apavarga vartmani. So if you can do research by discussing with the devotees, Vaishnavas, because they're all Krishna group, the positive demonetization positive group is there, and they're all discussing how it is positive. Their whole discussion points is about positive. So similarly, when the devotees, they positively discuss about the aspects of Krishna consciousness, and then they become more convinced about the whole subject. Satam prasangam mama virya samvedo. So prasangat means association. Through the association of satam, pure devotees, we discuss about the potency of the Supreme Lord, and then we become freed. All those habits or whatever things which are harassing us, slowly we will be freed from that. Krishna will release us from those habits. But then, what is our endeavor? Tad joshanat. We should endeavor to discuss about Krishna. What is that we have to discuss about Krishna? Specifically, it is mentioned here, virya, that is wonderful activities, samvida. So, in the in the translation, Prabhupada is saying, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord. There is a specific emphasis given on the pastimes of the Lord. So if we can discuss those, it is saying, Hrut Karna Rasayana. These stories are Rasayana, very pleasing. Like on Ekadashi days, they make one preparation. The nice banana. They call that as Rasayana, very pleasing. So, can we get that much of pleasure while discussing about Krishna's pastimes? So, this verse is assuring that if you can associate with Satam Prasangan, associate with pure devotees, then those discussions will be very pleasing to the heart. So, here the many important points are there, because we are sadhakas. We need to develop this in a systematic way. Tad joshanat. We have to cultivate. Cultivation means, as I said, it's a systematic process. For example, a farmer is cultivating a piece of land. And so he cannot just do whatever he wants, and at the end of 3 months or 4 months or 1 year, he expects a nice output from the field. It is not possible. He has to follow a systematic process. First he has to put seeds, he has to grow them, and he has to safeguard them. And then, so by doing all these things systematically, then he can expect, okay, there is a nice crop coming up. So similarly, when we hear this transcendental knowledge, we have to cultivate this knowledge. In one place, Prabhupada translates this Tad Joshanat as assimilation. See, this transcendental knowledge, when you hear, the next step is you have to assimilate. When you go, after this class, we'll all be going to Prasadam Hall, and we have a nice breakfast. After the breakfast, the next step, although we may not know, the next step is to assimilate the breakfast. Right? You may not consciously doing it, the body does it. End result you will know, you are energetic, and after 4 hours, 3.5 to 4 hours, again you start feeling hungry. If you are healthy and if you are working on it, if you are working, you are physically active or mentally active, after 3.5 to 4 hours, then again you become hungry, ready to eat again. Right? So, if you hear this transcendental knowledge, and the next step is you assimilate it. I'll come back to that. What is that assimilation? After the assimilation, you work on it. You try to act on it. Then the next result will be, you'll be hungry for more knowledge. After a day or after 2 days or whatever, you become more hungry about this transcendental knowledge. If you're not having hunger, that eagerness to learn more and more, that means somewhere there is some problem. Digestion may not be happening. Sometimes, if you have digestive problems, you will not get hungry after 3.5 to 4 hours. You eat in the morning, only by the evening or so you become hungry. So similarly, this transcendental knowledge you take, but you don't digest, then there is a possibility. See, nowadays it's all about social media, right? We have so many channels of communication. The Facebook is there, WhatsApp is there, and so many other channels are there. And as devotees, we have dovetailed these channels, and we communicate Krishna Katha. Get aware of what is our philosophy. Right? We put pictures of Krishna, we put quotes, and we send articles. And so that people can read. Now there is one danger here. People can get aware of what is our philosophy. And we also keep getting throughout the day so many messages, so many articles, so many videos, so many pictures. Now there is one danger here. I have seen sometimes when we get a good article, we read the headline, some nice headline will be there. Bhagavad Gita and demonetization, something. It's very nice. And then immediately we press forward and we have a group, send it off. And you are not read, and it will go to your 100 people who are there in the group, and they all forward another 100, and they are not read. It goes on like some people will read, of course. Now the messages have become too many. Digestion is not happening. Overeating. You see this picture, you see that picture, you see this. And sometimes when I open my own WhatsApp account, I see that number will be there, 40 messages, 50 messages, become panicky. Oh my God, so many messages. And then you see quickly. You want to see because you don't want to suddenly go into the end. You want to see, but you see very quickly. 50 messages over, and you are ready for the next 50. Why you cleared it up? Because if some messages come, I should not miss it. So like that. Now what happened to these 50 messages? So nicely, so much of endeavor somebody has put in, and then he has sent you, and then you are not reading. Maybe you are forwarding. That's okay. Forwarding is a Shudra job. Cut and paste and forwarding is a Shudra job. It's a laborer job, a skill. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. It's a Shudra job. But writing an article and posting is a Brahminical job. So somebody has done that Brahminical job. That's why we are able to see some content on the social media. But we should not become, Shudras, sending to hundreds of people. So this is the anomaly of our age now, that there is a content overload. There is an information overload on everybody's head. Not only in our own channels, Krishna conscious channels. Anywhere you take it, so there is a huge overload of information. To digest all that and to able to come up with an action plan, what to do next, that is becoming a very intense job. So that's why devotees, they should be very careful about this, whatever they are getting this information. For sure, they are all connected to Krishna, there is no doubt. And when you read, you are going to get benefit, no doubt about it. But that benefit will be very minimal. Very minimal. If you don't digest and try to implement that, then it is very, very minimal. Let us say you read that article and then you preach to somebody, that means you have digested it. If you can preach that subject in our own words, to whatever level, whatever capacity we have, let us say you are able to preach to somebody, that means you have digested it. So sometimes you may ask this question, how do I know that I digested? Now this is one indication. If you are able to represent those thought processes, that ideas, and then you preach to somebody, yes, digested. Then you may say, no, I don't have opportunity to preach. Then it doesn't matter. You read this, can you represent those thoughts in writing without saying that? Just write down. Some 5-10 minutes can I write down some 1 or 2 sentences in my own words? If you can repeat that in writing, that also means that you have digested. You understand? See what happens. If you get anything easily, you lose easily. And if you read something and it appears to be very easy, digestible very nicely, I can assure you, you will lose it very easily. Because you have not done any tapasya to digest it, to understand it. In this world, tapasya is very important. So as students, of transcendental knowledge, this step has to be given a lot of importance. Tad joshanat, cultivation. You have to, let us say, you read a statement, you use your logic, you use some questioning, you use your intelligence and see how, why, how can I implement, how can I explain. This is all for our purification. So when you do like that, you spend time with that a sentence or a paragraph, then you are digesting it nicely. Next day also you will be able to recollect. For example, taking notes, very good. But you have to go back and read those again and see if you can write down without seeing these notes. So like that, some of these steps, if we don't do, then it appears to be very easy in our minds, but we will not be able to present our thoughts. We will not be able to put down in writing. We'll see stars instead of seeing Krishna. Right? So this is very, very important. So tad joshanat asu. If you can do that, spend time, nicely analyze, assimilate and understand this knowledge. The next one will apavarga vatmani. Apavarga, we know this pavarga and apavarga. Will be freed from this entangling thoughts, entangling actions, entangling habits, whatever, will be freed from all that. Generally, our attachment is in the mind. There is a pull, mind or heart, they are connected, these two. So there is a pull, it is pulling you. We want to go away from that thought, but there is a pull, there is an attraction. Let us say some thought is coming up in the mind. It is not good for me, you want to run away. There is some place, something in you which is saying, let me go away from this thought. But there is a pull also. What's pulling you? There's an attraction is there. Right? So this attraction is called knot. This is the knot in the heart. A knot in the your mind. So that's the knot. You are trying to go away, but you are unable to go away, because if you are knotted, you cannot go. Little bit you can go here and there, but again you will come back to the same thought. Right? So if there is a rope which is holding you, a knot which is holding you, one thing is you can take a sword and you can cut it off. That's what Krishna says in the 4th chapter. This transcendental knowledge is compared to a sword, and you can cut it off. If that rope is there, it cuts off. That's why Prabhupada, some of the words of Srila Prabhupada, when he says on some topic, that's it, cut off. Better cut off, otherwise fool, rascal, so many. So immediately cut off. But some things we won't be able to. It requires repeated hearing. And so when a rope is there, a knot is there, one is you can cut it off, one more is you can open it up. That opening is this assimilation. You have to understand. To open, you have to understand where the knot is. Hold it. Like that. Then you can come out of that particular thing that is pulling you back. You can open it up and then you are freed. See, apavarga vartmani. This freeing process is not accidental, or it is not some sudden, some lightning, and one day you are enlightened. Because the process is so nice. If somebody is only reading and not doing any of these things, then it will not happen. But because we are doing devotional service, yes, that kind of an enlightenment is also possible. But generally, if you apply yourself like this, try to open it up, understand what is pulling you through the eyes of Shastra, and if you can open it up, then apavarga vartmani will be freed. And what is the next step? Shraddha will become very fixed in this knowledge. Then ratihi, we are all waiting for it, that is attraction to Krishna. Once there is an attraction, then bhaktihi, it is saying, real devotion will begin that time. The devotion that we are doing now, it is not with the priti purvakam. Because somebody is running behind us with a stick. Karo, karo. We're all running around. So it is not Priti Purvak. Trying to reach that platform, Rathir. If there is an attraction, then that bhakti is different. That is a Raga Bhakti, currently sadhana. So, real devotion and devotional service will begin, and it says Anukramishati. It follows one after another, one after another. If your Shraddha is very good, then your attraction will be good, then your bhakti, real bhakti will come. But all that is based on Satam Prasangan, through association of the Vaishnava. Now, this association, just one or two words on this. Very, very important point. As a jiva, we have only one choice in this world. What is that choice? You can choose your association. You can choose higher energy, spiritual energy, or you can choose material energy. At a very high level, this is the choice that we have. You can choose spiritual energy or you can choose material energy. After all, you are a marginal person, either this way or this way. See, you have that is the. So that means at the highest level, you have only a capacity to choose association, but you cannot choose to completely free from some association. No, you have to be part of either spiritual energy or material energy. And once you choose material energy, then you have further choices. You can be in Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Satoguna. You can further choose your association, but you already chosen. So we have come here into this world. Overall, we have chosen material energy. We are all here. You cannot be. But by Prabhupada's mercy, now we have an opportunity to choose spiritual energy, even in this conditioned stage. So we have to be very careful to choose only the. But then, how to choose this association? Again, go back to this WhatsApp, Facebook, all these things. Let us say, one politician has given a nice speech on demonetization only. Nice speech. And then you got a video. Immediately, wow, what a speech he gave. And then after 10 minutes, somebody will say, some opposition politician, he has refuted. There is one more speech. He sends. Then you want to see, oh, what did he refute? It is so nice. Let me hear what is it he has refuted. Tuck, you press, and then you see what he is talking. Hearing these politicians' lectures on any topic, that means you are choosing a particular association. Associating with the modes, karanam gunasangasya. How am I associating with the modes? Where are these three modes? Prabhu, show me these three modes, Prabhu. I'll cross over, I'll jump over, I'll transcend. These three modes comes in this format. Through somebody, through some objects, through some circumstances, you come across these qualities. Generally, I go in Hyderabad, whenever some place I go, sometimes we have to pass through some streets. And when you go there, I'll see, all those, meat shops. The huge masses will be hanging down, and people are going there, and there's a regular transactions. In the same street, you will see on the roadside there will be pani puri, masala, hot masala. There's a pani puri, and those shops also will be there. And then if you go a little further, you'll also see there are kind of some fruit juices, fruit shops, and all those. Dry fruit shops are also there nowadays. See, that means when you are in your day-to-day experience, when you are traveling, you are seeing something ignorance, meat, pani puri, very spicy, and this and that. It's a rajoguna. Passion is there in that location. And you go, people are drinking nice juices, and there's a sattvic environment is there. People are coming there, they're all such. So when you're passing through in your life, see how the modes are very much, you are actually in the modes only. But then you are seeing there is a little wave here of ignorance, there is a little wave of sattva-guna, there is a little wave of passion. It's an ocean of modes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's that song is there, no? Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re sabai. In that he says, we're all habu-dubu boy. He's saying we're all floating up and down in these three modes, right? Sometimes this, sometimes that. So in that song, in the end he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sange chalo, Radha Krishna naam bolo and Sange chalo, he says. And then next verse, I'm unable to recollect that Bengali, this thing. He says, this is what I beg from you. What is that? Remain in the association of devotees and chant Hare Krishna, he says. That's what this verse is. Satam prasangam. Somehow stick on to this association of devotees. Whatever may happen, anything may happen, simply hold on to this association. Then one day, apavarga vartman, will be freed, then we develop attraction to the Lord. So we have to put all our endeavors, somehow hold on to this association. If you leave this, then we'll fall into that habu-dubu bhai, and we don't know where we'll go. We may land up in this also. Anything, we don't know. So that's why we have to be very careful. This is the greatest opportunity Srila Prabhupada has given. In Kali Yuga, he has created these wonderful pockets of association called ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement, and where we can get access to transcendental association. So if you can take full advantage, then we will become perfect in this life. Any questions?
Prabhu, sometimes even though we read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we spend a lot of time for understanding purports. We see from different angles. But after some time we forget whatever knowledge we acquired. And even we fail also. When practically the situation comes, we are unable to use that knowledge. Yeah. So forgetfulness is, what should we do, Prabhu?
Yeah. See, the point is, Prabhupada also in one place he says, to remember. In Kali Yuga, to remember means to note it down. He is not saying you memorize, he is saying to note it down. In Kali Yuga particularly, our memories are so bad. And not only it is about memory, it's about the distractions that are present in our environment. When there are so many distractions are there, to memorize a particular topic is becoming so difficult because you are unable to spend time on it. So distract to the environment is becoming. So that's why if you want to remember, you have to note it down. And repeatedly you have to go through. That's why there is a note taking, you have to repeatedly go through to remind yourself of those important points. If something is striking you when you read Srila Prabhupada books, that means that striking sentence has some relevance to you, right? Meditate on it. Why are you leaving that sentence? You try to digest it. You try to practice on it. Each of those striking sentences is like a cycle. You try to ride on it. You have to, of course it's not controlling thing I am saying. It's like when you try to practice, you fall off. Again you have to stand and practice. Again you fall off. Like that. It's like cycling. And you try to cycle, you fall off. Again stand, cycle, fall off. One day you will be able to stand and sit on the cycle and then peacefully drive, not bothering about how about the knowledge of cycling. Similarly, on one instruction you take it and try to implement that. You fall off and then again stand, fall off. One day you will be standing on that instruction. You will be able to stand peacefully on that instruction. It's become part of you. And then you can look at more other aspects of life. Like when you are cycling now, you are not remembering how the pedaling and this and that. You are aware of many other aspects. So like that, as a sadhaka, we have to take one point like that and then go on implementing, falling off and then again standing and again praying, crying, going forward. All these things are important. Without that, don't think it will become, maturity will come suddenly like that. And then because we are doing sadhana and devotional service, along with the reading, this process will ensure that we become mature, we become perfect. So as a process it has to be taken. Okay, so if you're forgetting, yes, you make some notes, again repeatedly you go through those, try to implement those. Let us say today I taken one sentence, implement that for next 1 week or 10 days or whatever, still you feel very comfortable with that. And then move on to the next one. Let us so many striking points, make all of them in a note and go through it again and again and implement one by one. Some of the things will take a long time. For example, lusty desires, anything connected to that takes a long time. Very. It's a lifetime project, or maybe a couple of lifetimes. If we are serious and sincere, maybe one lifetime. So like that, actually if you do like that, very, we can have an exciting journey. Philosophically, we will become more mature. Depth has to be increased. Now we all know philosophy. Everybody knows the same things. I'm not this body, and we're all perfect. In 1 month or 3 months, by Prabhupada's mercy, we all understand. What is needed is depth. You have to go deep. If you're there in the top, some bird will come and pick you up. It's like a fish is there on top, tuck, it will come and pick you up. If you're a timingala in the middle, in the ocean, no fish, nothing can come inside. Right? So Prabhupada says like that. He says personalists are like timingalas. They go deep into the devotional service. Impersonalists are fish on the top. Some sunrise comes, it gets, they all get exposed. Some fish will, some bird will come and take them away. There is a chance of going out of the waters for the impersonalists. But personalists have to increase their depth. So they have to research, they have to understand what is that I am suffering from. And then they have to research and then go on. Like Madhu Pandit Prabhu is sharing his research information on japa. So much research. Some 500 slides, 1,000 slides Prabhu has. So that's a research material. So we all have to research. We're all PhD students. Doctor philosophy, but with Srimad Bhagavatam. Any other questions? Yeah.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, sometimes while reading we have targets like within 2 months I should try to finish the book. So in that mood when we are trying to read, Prabhu, this assimilation process, it takes some time also. Say, like Bhagavatam, when we are hearing, we hear on one verse, we hear a class of some 45 minutes. Yeah. So that's there. But when we are, say, reading Bhagavad Gita or something, the same way, or Bhagavatam maybe.
Yeah.
So how much we should research, like how much we should contemplate, how much time we should spend on understanding?
So, yeah, see, reading Prabhupada books is not a one-time activity. We all should mentally prepare that, many of the books I have to read again. And the Bhagavad Gita, we have to read many times. Again, MPP told me that I should read 8 times. Of course, I am far away from it, but 8 times Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatam minimum 2 times. Anything minimum 2 times. So that's why sometimes devotees will encourage in the beginning stages, they recommend that, okay, you go at a comfortable pace, but don't get stuck in one verse or trying to understand one sentence, because in the first reading you may not be able to understand all the various angles of it. So, but why they encourage to read at a certain pace is that by reading first time what happens, you understand some skeleton of the book. This is how our brain works. First is Bhagavad Gita, then 18 chapters, then each chapter some points. Like that you build it up. It's like a map, you build it up. And then each chapter has some few points. And then each point has little more depth. Like that, you're going to go deeper, 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 deeper. So that's why they advise, okay, first time when you read at the pace which is comfortable. Just go on, keep reading. Tuck, 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 tuck. Otherwise, Prabhu, I am contemplating on one verse, Prabhu, last 5 years. And then, sorry, Prabhu. I mean, it's good, nothing wrong. But then, see, that's not the best way to understand this, because they have gone through that process. So they're encouraging, okay, you spend little time, you ask questions, you get some answer, move on. And go on reading. And then because you are doing devotional service, next time when you read, you start seeing more deeper angles. A new light you will start perceiving. The old points are already cleared. If you want to verify this process, actually we have nothing to verify, but anyway, in the beginning days, whatever questions you have, you write it down in a diary. Close it off. After 5 years, again you open. 5 years of service, you open and see. Many of the points are clear. And then, of course, at the 5 years, you will have more complicated questions that you can make a note. So that's a research. It goes on. So it's a wonderful opportunity. That's what Prabhupada says. He has given so many books. It takes one lifetime just to read, once, or just to read twice. So many he has given. So somehow let us develop this taste to nicely get into it, assimilate it, understand, somehow develop depth in each and every topic. Somehow we have to develop this taste. Then if you can do that, your absorption will be very high and will be freed also. So we'll close here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.